Hey guys, Canadian Zangief back again, and this time I'm going to be revisiting a system that I hold dear to my heart, and we're going to try to make it better. Of course, I'm referring to the Sega Game Gear. Had its its successes. It has a pretty interesting library. I really love all the little different games for it. I never had one of these growing up, but later in years, I've picked it up and I absolutely love it, despite its many shortcomings. Full six set of AA batteries lasts like 2.5 hours, which is just garbage. So I picked up like a battery pack that's gonna screw onto the back of this. Just like my PSP mods, I don't want to mod the system itself. I want to mod something that will attach to it, so if for some reason if the system blows up or fails, which is quite possible with the Game Gear, I could just buy another one and put the battery pack on the back. So yeah, let's take a look. I'll go over all the parts and everything that I'm planning to do this with it. I'm really running in blind, as in most of my mods, so we'll hope that it works out. Okay, let's go over some parts of what we're going to be doing here. So this is the battery pack I got. This is a Game Gear power bank. It screws right onto the back of it. So do this one-handed. So here's the Game Gear, and it'll fit right on top here like that. It screws on. The Game Gear is already a beast, so this extra little bit on here, ain't gonna make much of a big deal. And it's better. I like it a lot better than the the Game Gear dildo that just kind of hangs off of it. You have to attach it to your belt or something. I really like this thing. So the problem is, and I got the power cord with it too, but the problem with this is the batteries in here are NiCad, and I believe there's something like I don't know, 1300 mAh, which isn't too much. That's going to give you about 4 hours of playtime, which we can do better than that. But we want to stay within the confines of this thing. So what's the solution? Okay, so these are rated at, I think, 8.3 volts, the NiCad batteries in here. And this charger here, let's see, it outputs 10 volt. So we can't use this for modern battery. So I picked up some modern batteries right here. These are standard 3.7 LiPo batteries, 5,000 mAh each. So I have to break this a lot higher voltage to actually power the Game Gear. So I'm gonna have to run these in series. So even though there's gonna be two of them, it's only gonna be 5,000 mAh, but it's gonna bump the voltage up to 7.4. Now inside of here, as well as the batteries, is a charging protection circuit for NiCad batteries. So we'll have to take that out, and we're going to have to replace it with something else. So I ordered a double input battery protection circuit off eBay. It was like $1 or something like that. It's amazing how small stuff like this is nowadays with modernization. And this will protect the 7.4 volt power. Now the importance of that is when you're charging it, it's not going to overcharge it and then blow up the darn thing. So I'm also going to need a separate charger than this. I can't use this charger because it's too high voltage. It'll way bypass the protection circuit. So I'm going to have to, I picked up another charger cord. This is a 7.5 volt, which will work just fine, but the ends are not the same. It's the same positive on the inside, neutral on the outside, but the ends are different. So I'm gonna have to splice the wires from this guy into this guy, but we'll do that second. So let's open her up and see what it looks like inside. Hopefully it's not too much of a horrible mess, and yeah, we'll go from there. So here's with the back open. So what a difference in size for a protection circuit, eh? Like, look at this thing. It's just like ridiculous. So this whole thing is pretty much garbage as far as I'm concerned. What we are going to want to keep is this, because this is going to be how we charge the batteries. So I only want this and the cables leading to it, which I'm going to solder right into this guy, and I'll show a diagram later how I'm going to be wiring this up, because it's going to be a little unclear maybe. But anyways, and then this other part here, this is the part that will plug into the game gear itself to provide power from the battery pack. So I need this as well. Once again, it's going to be a fairly easy tie-in through this, and yeah, we're also going to have to, like, just because of the shape of this, come on, get out of there, the shape of the battery and how the grooves are here, you know, I'm going to be able to use all of these spaces, I think, like all of the screw holes as they are, but all these ridges I'm going to have to Dremel out, because these should, I've pretty much measured it, they're going to fit pretty tight, but they will fit back to back right here. And if they're a little bit loose height wise, I might put some foam bracketing in or something like that. But I'm gonna just cut all this off, cut off what I need from it, and Dremel out these pieces and see how the batteries fit before I start soldering anything. And yeah, we'll go to the next step. Okay, it's all Dremeled out now. There should be plenty of room for the batteries. This part here, it was concaved a bit, so it's a little bit weak, but I'm not too concerned over it. The battery is going to be pressing up against it, but it's also going to be pressing up against here, so nothing should break off or anything like that. These batteries, they should fit. It was a little bit tight. I had to bend these circuit protector boards on the end of these batteries over just a bit, but as you can see, they fit in pretty snug. Like that. Get in there. Well, requires two hands, but it's flat with it. Well, it will be once I adjust it a bit, but screw holes are all available to put it back together, so you wouldn't even know that it's been modded. So I guess now the next step is going to be to wire these batteries into series so I can amp up the voltage, and then once they're soldered together, I might use some shrink tubing or something to do a three-way connection point, because I also have to connect in that circuit protector for charging. And yeah, so I'll solder all these together, and like I said, I'm going to add a diagram just so you can see what I'm doing step by step, and yeah, we'll go from here, and let's keep on crossing our fingers here, huh? Okay, I've got it all soldered together, and I'll be showing a schematic of how to do that. So this is the charge port. I used the same wires. It took a little bit of fiddling to get these to fit. I actually even had to use my heat gun a little bit to warp the plastic a bit, so there'll be a little bit of a gap when I close it up, but I'm going to cover it with electrical tape just because I didn't want to piss with it too terribly much. So I had to run these in series. So to run that in series, I took battery 1, the black wire, to battery 2, the red wire, connected them together, and then on the circuit protector here, you connect the battery 1 red to here, and the battery 2 black to here. That functions as this being one battery. That's what it is when you run it in series. And then I have the connection point that plugs into the Game Gear, the same one, wedged in here, and the positive and negative are connecting to the battery points here and here. And here is the positive and negative of the batteries are going to the MB here on the battery board. Excuse my terrible solder job, it's just absolutely atrocious. The charge port goes to here, and it should be ready to go. Now it's just if this actually closes up properly, or properly enough, and I don't blow myself up. So yeah, hopefully my horrible instructions are actually relatable. It'll be a lot better once I have the diagrams up. So yeah, let's put it together and see what happens. Oh yeah, wait a minute. There's one other thing I gotta do too. I forgot, I still have to change the power adapters. So I'm hoping that I can actually just get these apart and I won't have to splice the wires halfway down the wire, because they are separate gauge and that would be a kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm going to try to open up these power supplies with a screwdriver, just kind of along the edge, and pry it apart. This big guy has got screws in it, I think. Yeah. Okay, well I'll do that, and then we'll see if I blow myself up. Alrighty. Okay, so I managed to pry open the power supply. This is the old Sega one. I've ripped off the cord already. It's pretty tough to get these bolts off. I had to get in with some needle nose. And here's my new one, you know, modernized one. And all I got to do is solder the new ones back into the board here. And then I got a power supply, 7.5 volts, ready to charge this up. And I'll just wait for my soldering iron to heat up again, and we'll solder it in and we'll give it a shot. So this actually turned out a lot better than I thought it would for putting this in. It actually fit quite nicely. I was surprised. Didn't have to glue it. It came together nice, and nicely labeled positive and negative solder points on the inside to reattach. Before I close it up and start testing it, make sure you put some electrical tape over top both sides of the charging protection circuit, just to be safe. You know, use caution whenever possible. So let's put it together and let's see if we can successfully connect it back to the Game Gear, and if it actually powers it. So yeah. Okay, so let's see, moment of truth. Like I said, it screws right onto the back like that. I got a little bit of separation there. So I'll probably open it back up and see if I can jury rig that a little bit together, or I might just electrical tape it together. Either way, it feels solid on there, you know. So let's take a look. Woo! Now this is running 7.4 volts, so there shouldn't be any overcharge. It should be a little bit under actually, but it looks like we're okay here. And success. I don't know how long I'm gonna get, how much battery life I'm gonna get out of 5,000 mAh, but it's gonna be way better than the 1300 that came with the stock, and certainly more than disposables. And hopefully when I try to charge this later, I don't also blow myself up again. So yeah, use caution when performing a mod like this, because I'm not fully tested on it yet, but in theory all of my calculations should be correct. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, it's a good time to be loving the Game Gear. We'll see you next time. Cheers.